Hello, and welcome back to Speak English Daily.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to see you here today.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about how to control the direction of a conversation without sounding rude, bossy, or pushy.
I think a lot of people hear the word control and immediately think of manipulation or dominating the conversation.
Yeah, and that's not what we mean here. We're talking about guiding a conversation naturally. Good communicators do this all the time.
They really do. And honestly, once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. Some people are very skilled at moving conversations smoothly from one topic to another.
And some people do the opposite. Have you ever met someone who completely dominates every conversation?
Oh, definitely. You ask them one simple question and suddenly they're giving a 20-minute speech about their gym routine, their childhood, their favorite coffee shop, and their neighbor's dog.
And you just sit there thinking, am I part of this conversation anymore?
Sometimes you feel like an audience member instead of a participant.
Speaking of that, I think many English learners have the opposite problem. They don't dominate conversations. They struggle to enter them.
That's true. Some people stay too quiet because they're nervous about their English, or they don't know how to redirect the conversation naturally.
Then awkward silence appears.
The dangerous awkward silence.
The kind where both people suddenly look at their phones.
Or pretend to be deeply interested in the menu.
I think balance is the important thing here. A confident speaker knows how to guide the flow of conversation while still making other people feel included.
That's such a good point. The best communicators aren't usually the loudest people in the room.
Not at all. They're usually the people who know how to keep conversations moving comfortably.
They ask good questions. They introduce new topics smoothly. They notice when the energy changes.
And they know when a topic is becoming boring, uncomfortable, or repetitive.
That reminds me of a dinner I went to last year. One guy spent almost 40 minutes complaining about traffic.
40 minutes?
I'm serious. At first, everyone listened politely, but after a while, people started looking exhausted.
So, did anyone redirect the conversation?
Yeah, one woman handled it perfectly. She smiled and said, "Speaking of driving, have any of you ever taken a road trip across the country?" And suddenly, the whole conversation became fun again.
That's a great example. She didn't interrupt aggressively, she gently changed direction.
And nobody felt offended.
That's the skill we want to talk about today. Conversation control is really about helping the interaction feel natural and enjoyable.
Can I ask you something related? Do you think this skill is more important in professional situations or social situations?
Honestly, both. At work, it helps meetings feel productive. Socially, it helps people connect more comfortably.
Let's talk about social situations for a second. I think people remember how conversations make them feel.
Totally. If someone makes you feel heard and comfortable, you usually want to talk to them again.
And that's why learning how to guide conversations matters so much. It's not about controlling people. It's about creating better communication experiences.
And one of the biggest parts of that skill is learning how to change the topic naturally. I think this is where many English learners struggle.
Yeah, because sometimes the topic change feels too sudden.
I've heard conversations like this before. One person says, "I'm trying to eat healthier these days," and the other person suddenly says, "My cousin bought a motorcycle."
That kind of transition gives people emotional whiplash.
It feels random. Native speakers usually connect topics before moving somewhere new.
Even a small connection helps the conversation flow better.
Right. Imagine someone says, "I barely slept last night." And instead of changing topics randomly, you could say, "Actually, that makes me think of something. Have you ever tried those sleep apps?"
See, that sounds smooth because there's a bridge between the ideas.
Exactly. The connection can be tiny, but it matters.
I think phrases like "by the way" are really useful because they prepare people for a shift in direction.
Yes, but tone matters too. If you suddenly interrupt with, by the way, it sounds aggressive.
True, conversation is kind of like driving a car. You don't want sharp turns every 5 seconds.
That's such a good comparison.
Let's do a quick example. I'll give a bad topic change first.
Go for it.
I had a really stressful meeting today.
Bananas are expensive now.
That conversation is over immediately.
Completely destroyed.
Now let's make it sound natural. I had a really stressful meeting today.
Oh no, work has been intense lately. By the way, are things getting busier at your company in general?
Much smoother. The topic slowly expands instead of jumping off a cliff.
I think good communicators are always listening for small opportunities to redirect gently.
Especially during boring conversations.
Oh, we've all been trapped in those.
Especially when someone repeats the same point again and again.
I once met a guy at a party who spent 15 minutes describing his lawnmower.
15 minutes?
Mike, I learned things about lawnmowers that I never wanted to know.
So how did you escape?
I waited for a moment when he mentioned his backyard, and I said, on a different note, do you spend a lot of time gardening too? Then the conversation became more interesting.
That's smart because you used something he already mentioned.
That's the secret. Native speakers often recycle small details from the current conversation to create a new direction.
Before I forget, this also works really well in professional situations.
Definitely, especially during meetings.
Sometimes meetings get stuck on one tiny problem for too long.
Then somebody skilled says something like, I think we've covered the main issue here. On a different note, should we talk about the timeline for the project?
Smooth, respectful, and productive.
Nobody feels attacked.
Networking events are another great example. Those conversations can become awkward very fast.
Especially when both people run out of things to say.
Let's do a little role play.
Okay.
So, the weather's been nice lately.
Yeah, really nice.
Painful.
Socially dangerous.
Now let's improve it. So, the weather's been nice lately.
Yeah, it has. Actually, that makes me think of something. Have you been traveling anywhere recently?
See, now the conversation has somewhere to go.
Open questions are powerful because they create movement.
I also think people worry too much about changing topics.
What do you mean?
They think every transition must be perfect and intelligent, but honestly, normal conversations are messy sometimes.
That's true. You don't need magical communication skills.
You just need awareness. If a topic is dying, help it move naturally.
And don't panic during silence.
Silence is normal. The problem is when people become nervous and suddenly say something completely unrelated.
Speaking of that, gossip situations can also become uncomfortable quickly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Imagine someone starts criticizing another person at work.
Dangerous territory.
Instead of saying, stop gossiping, you can redirect softly. Maybe say, by the way, did you hear about the new project the team is starting?
That feels much more natural and less confrontational.
You're protecting the mood of the conversation without sounding controlling.
And honestly, people appreciate that more than they realize. The best conversationalists aren't usually the funniest or the loudest. They're the people who know how to guide interaction smoothly from one moment to the next.
And sometimes guiding a conversation becomes even more important when the discussion starts turning negative or uncomfortable.
Yeah, because those moments can change the whole atmosphere very quickly.
I think everyone has experienced this. You're having a relaxed conversation, and suddenly one person starts complaining about everything.
Their job, their neighbors, the economy, the weather, the price of coffee.
And after 10 minutes, the energy in the room completely disappears.
The difficult part is that you don't want to sound cold or rude.
Right. You still want the other person to feel heard.
That's why emotional intelligence matters so much in conversation skills.
One phrase I use sometimes is, I see what you mean. It acknowledges the person without encouraging endless negativity.
That's a great phrase because it sounds calm and respectful.
Then you can gently redirect. Maybe say, maybe we should focus on something more positive for a minute.
See, I like that approach, but honestly, I think I'm slightly more direct than you are.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes if someone is being extremely negative, I think it's okay to say, you seem really frustrated today.
I don't know. That could make some people defensive.
True, but I also think avoiding honesty completely can feel fake.
I agree with that. I just think tone changes everything.
Definitely. The same sentence can sound caring or aggressive depending on how you say it.
That's such an important point for English learners. Vocabulary matters, but tone matters even more.
Someone could say, that's an interesting point, but in a warm way, or they could sound like they're preparing for battle.
The scary business meeting version.
The your presentation is about to be destroyed version.
Let's talk about arguments for a second, especially political arguments.
Those conversations can become intense very fast.
I've noticed skilled communicators rarely attack people directly. They redirect the emotional temperature of the conversation.
That's a really good way to describe it.
For example, imagine two people arguing about politics at a dinner table.
Already stressful.
Instead of jumping into the conflict, somebody might say, I see what you mean. Anyway, changing the subject slightly, has anyone planned a vacation this year?
That works surprisingly well because people are usually relieved to escape the tension.
Most people don't actually enjoy conflict as much as they think they do,
Family conversations are another dangerous area.
especially during holidays.
Family members love asking uncomfortable questions.
Why are you still single?
When are you getting married?
Why don't you earn more money?
Families can become accidental interview panels.
And don't panic during silence.
Silence is normal. The problem is when people become nervous and suddenly say something completely unrelated.
Speaking of that, gossip situations can also become uncomfortable quickly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Imagine someone starts criticizing another person at work.
Dangerous territory.
Instead of saying, stop gossiping, you can redirect softly. Maybe say, by the way, did you hear about the new project the team is starting?
That feels much more natural and less confrontational.
You're protecting the mood of the conversation without sounding controlling.
And honestly, people appreciate that more than they realize. The best conversationalists aren't usually the funniest or the loudest. They're the people who know how to guide interactions smoothly from one moment to the next.
And sometimes guiding a conversation becomes even more important when the discussion starts turning negative or uncomfortable.
Yeah, because those moments can change the whole atmosphere very quickly.
I think everyone has experienced this. You're having a relaxed conversation, and suddenly one person starts complaining about everything.
Their job, their neighbors, the economy, the weather, the price of coffee.
And after 10 minutes, the energy in the room completely disappears.
The difficult part is that you don't want to sound cold or rude.
Right. You still want the other person to feel heard.
That's why emotional intelligence matters so much in conversation skills.
One phrase I use sometimes is, I see what you mean. It acknowledges the person without encouraging endless negativity.
That's a great phrase because it sounds calm and respectful.
Then you can gently redirect. Maybe say, maybe we should focus on something more positive for a minute.
See, I like that approach, but honestly, I think I'm slightly more direct than you are.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes if someone is being extremely negative, I think it's okay to say, you seem really frustrated today.
I don't know. That could make some people defensive.
True, but I also think avoiding honesty completely can feel fake.
I agree with that. I just think tone changes everything.
Definitely. The same sentence can sound caring or aggressive depending on how you say it.
That's such an important point for English learners. Vocabulary matters, but tone matters even more.
Someone could say, that's an interesting point, but in a warm way, or they could sound like they're preparing for battle.
The scary business meeting version.
The "your presentation is about to be destroyed" version.
Let's talk about arguments for a second, especially political arguments.
Those conversations can become intense very fast.
I've noticed skilled communicators rarely attack people directly. They redirect the emotional temperature of the conversation.
That's a really good way to describe it.
For example, imagine two people arguing about politics at a dinner table.
Already stressful.
Instead of jumping into the conflict, somebody might say, "I see what you mean. Anyway, changing the subject slightly, has anyone planned a vacation this year?"
That works surprisingly well because people are usually relieved to escape the tension.
Most people don't actually enjoy conflict as much as they think they do,
Family conversations are another dangerous area.
especially during holidays.
Family members love asking uncomfortable questions.
Why are you still single?
When are you getting married?
Why don't you earn more money?
Families can become accidental interview panels.
In those moments, redirecting the conversation protects your comfort without creating unnecessary drama.
So, what would you say if someone asked you a very personal question?
Maybe something light like, "That's a long story. By the way, how has your new job been going?"
Smooth.
What about you?
I'd probably be more playful. Something like, "Wow, we moved into dangerous territory fast."
That actually works too, because humor can redirect conversations naturally.
Humor is powerful when the mood becomes uncomfortable.
Though I think some people use humor to avoid every serious conversation.
That's true. There's a balance.
Another situation people struggle with is listening to constant complaints.
Especially at work.
You know that coworker who only talks about stress?
I think every office has one.
At first, you want to support them, but eventually the conversation becomes emotionally exhausting.
This is where gentle redirection really helps. You can acknowledge their feelings while shifting the focus.
Like saying, "That sounds frustrating. Maybe we should focus on what can actually improve the situation."
That phrase feels constructive instead of dismissive.
Because the goal isn't to silence people, the goal is to keep conversations emotionally healthy.
I think people sometimes confuse conversation control with manipulation,
Yeah, but healthy redirection is actually considerate.
especially when the conversation is becoming uncomfortable for everyone involved.
And honestly, confident communicators pay attention to group energy. They notice when people stop smiling, stop participating, or start looking trapped.
That awareness is a huge social skill.
Also, not every uncomfortable conversation needs a dramatic response.
Sometimes a small shift is enough,
A simple question, a lighter topic, a calmer tone.
and the conversation slowly moves into a better direction without anyone feeling embarrassed or attacked.
You know, the more we talk about this, the more I think good questions are probably the biggest secret behind great conversations.
I completely agree. People often focus on speaking skills, but strong communicators are usually strong question askers.
That sounds funny when you say it like that.
It's true, though. Questions give conversations direction.
And they help other people feel included instead of talked at.
I think one of the biggest differences is understanding open-ended questions versus closed questions.
Definitely. Closed questions usually stop conversations quickly.
Like, did you enjoy the movie?
The answer could just be yes.
Conversation finished. Everybody go home.
Meanwhile, an open-ended question creates space for discussion. Instead of asking, "Did you enjoy the movie?" you could ask, "What was your favorite part of the movie?"
Or, what did you think about the ending?
Suddenly, the conversation becomes more interesting.
Open-ended questions are especially useful when you meet new people.
Yeah, because many people get nervous and rely on very short questions.
Where are you from?
Toronto.
Silence.
Painful silence.
But if you ask, what was it like growing up there? Now the person has something real to talk about.
And people usually enjoy talking about experiences more than facts.
That's such a good point. Facts are limited. Experiences create stories.
Speaking of stories, I think skilled communicators know how to pull stories out of people naturally.
That sounds slightly criminal.
You know what I mean.
I do. Questions like, how did that happen, are great because they invite detail,
And they show genuine curiosity.
which people can feel immediately. Fake interest sounds very different from real interest.
Especially at networking events.
Oh yes, networking conversations sometimes feel robotic.
Everybody asks the same questions in the same tone.
What do you do?
Marketing.
Nice.
Nice.
The conversation dies in front of everyone.
But a better communicator might ask, what got you interested in marketing in the first place?
That question creates personality instead of small talk.
I think people remember conversations where they felt comfortable sharing something meaningful.
And honestly, asking good questions also helps shy people participate more,
That's true. Some people need a little encouragement before they open up.
especially during a first day at work.
Oh, those conversations can feel awkward.
Everybody's polite, but nobody knows what to say yet.
One helpful trick is asking questions connected to the environment, like, have you worked in this industry for a long time? Or, what do you enjoy most about working here?
Those questions feel natural because they match the situation.
And they help guide the conversation into safer territory.
Online conversations are another interesting example.
Definitely. Text conversations can become dry very quickly.
Especially when people only send short responses.
Cool.
Nice.
Haha.
Modern communication is truly beautiful.
That's why questions matter even more online. If somebody mentions traveling, you could ask, have you ever experienced culture shock while traveling?
That question can lead to an entire conversation.
And notice something important here. Good questions are usually connected to something the other person already mentioned.
Right, random questions can feel strange.
Like suddenly asking someone about sharks during a conversation about cooking.
Unless the shark is cooking.
That would actually become a fascinating conversation.
I'd finally pay attention.
I also think good questions make people feel respected.
Because listening is a form of respect.
Exactly. When someone asks thoughtful follow-up questions, you feel like your words matter.
Speaking of follow-up questions, I think I'm becoming too much of a podcast host right now.
What do you mean?
Let me demonstrate. Anna, when did you first discover the emotional power of conversational redirection?
Why are you talking like a documentary interviewer?
And how did this transformational journey affect your worldview?
Mike, I'm trying to drink coffee peacefully.
Please describe the moment in detail for our audience.
There was no transformational journey. I just like observing people.
Fascinating. And when you observe people, what emotions emerge internally?
Mild confusion.
Incredible insight.
This is another important lesson, by the way. Asking questions is good, but interrogating people is not.
True, nobody wants to feel trapped inside a job interview during casual conversation.
Questions should feel relaxed and natural.
Like curiosity, not investigation.
And when people feel comfortable, conversations flow much more easily.
Which is why thoughtful questions are one of the most powerful tools for gently leading conversations in a better direction.
I think this leads perfectly into another important skill, which is sounding confident without sounding controlling.
That balance is harder than people realize.
Very hard, because confidence is attractive in conversations, but domination usually is not.
And there's a huge difference between leadership and domination.
A strong communicator helps conversations move smoothly. A controlling communicator tries to own every moment.
You can usually feel the difference immediately, especially in group conversations. There's always that one person who interrupts constantly and turns every topic back to themselves.
The human boomerang.
That's the perfect description.
Somebody says, I went hiking last weekend, and suddenly the overconfident person says, that reminds me of the time I climbed a mountain in winter for 12 hours.
Then the original speaker disappears from the conversation completely.
Confident people don't need to compete for attention every second.
That's such an important point. Real confidence usually feels calm,
Not loud.
not desperate.
And not performative.
I also think body language affects this more than people realize.
Definitely. Communication is not only about words.
Someone can say polite things while still looking impatient or distracted,
Like checking their phone every 30 seconds.
or constantly searching the room for someone more interesting to talk to.
People notice those things immediately.
Meanwhile, confident communicators usually look relaxed. They maintain natural eye contact, they listen carefully, and they don't rush every sentence.
Listening is honestly one of the strongest signs of confidence.
Completely. Insecure people often feel pressure to prove themselves constantly,
Which usually leads to over-talking.
or interrupting,
Interrupting changes the whole energy of a conversation.
especially when it happens repeatedly.
I knew someone years ago who interrupted so often that people slowly stopped telling stories around him.
Because they knew they'd never finish the story anyway.
Exactly. Conversations should feel shared, not stolen.
That's why little phrases matter so much. Something as simple as, "go ahead," can completely change the feeling of an interaction.
Or you were saying,
Those phrases signal respect.
they tell the other person your voice matters too.
I think socially aware people pay attention to conversation energy all the time.
Explain what you mean by that.
Some conversations feel balanced. Everybody contributes naturally. Nobody is fighting for space.
And other conversations feel tense because one person controls the rhythm too aggressively.
Yes, they answer every question first. They react to every topic first. They fill every silence immediately.
Silence scares a lot of people.
But silence is not always bad. Sometimes people are just thinking.
That's true. If you jump in too quickly, quieter people never get a chance to speak.
Which is why confident communicators create space intentionally.
I love that phrase, create space.
It's important. Sometimes leadership in conversation means stepping back for a moment.
Not stepping forward.
Right. Asking, "What do you think?" can be more powerful than giving another opinion.
Or saying, I'd love to hear your opinion.
Those phrases invite participation instead of competition.
And people remember that feeling. They remember conversations where they felt comfortable contributing.
Honestly, some of the most charismatic people I've met were not the funniest or the smartest people in the room.
They were just very good at making others feel heard.
Exactly.
There's also a difference between confidence and performance.
Oh, definitely.
Some people try so hard to appear impressive that the conversation stops feeling natural.
You can almost hear them thinking, "Please admire me,"
Meanwhile, relaxed confidence usually feels effortless.
because it comes from engagement, not attention seeking.
And socially skilled people know when to stop talking, too.
That's another underrated skill,
Some stories don't need 15 extra details.
especially stories about parking.
Nobody needs a dramatic 20-minute story about finding a parking space.
Unless there was a helicopter involved.
Even then, maybe shorten it slightly.
The overall lesson here is simple. People enjoy conversations where they feel included, respected, and comfortable speaking.
Not conversations where they feel trapped inside somebody else's performance.
And when you combine confidence with curiosity, listening, and social awareness, you become the kind of communicator people genuinely enjoy talking to.
So, before we finish today's episode, let's do one longer conversation that uses everything we talked about.
Including awkward moments?
Especially awkward moments.
Beautiful. Human communication at its finest.
Imagine we're at a company event. We don't know each other very well yet.
Got it.
Hey, I think we met briefly earlier. You work in design, right?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, this week has been exhausting. I've barely slept because of deadlines.
That sounds stressful. What kind of projects have been keeping you busy lately?
See, that question helps the conversation continue naturally instead of getting stuck in negativity.
Right, I acknowledged the feeling, but I also guided the discussion towards something more interesting.
Mostly advertising campaigns. Some clients are difficult, though. One of them complains about every tiny detail.
I can imagine that gets frustrating. Have you always worked with clients, or did you start somewhere else?
Nice transition.
Thank you. Actually, I started in photography before moving into design.
Really? What was that like?
That's a strong follow-up question because it invites a story.
And stories create better conversations than short answers.
It was fun, but unpredictable financially.
That makes sense. By the way, do you still take photos outside of work?
Sometimes when I travel.
What's been your favorite place to visit so far? Notice how the conversation keeps moving naturally from topic to topic.
Without feeling forced.
Probably Japan. The cities were amazing.
I've heard that from a lot of people. Have you ever experienced culture shock while traveling?
And now we've entered a deeper, more personal conversation naturally.
Instead of jumping randomly between disconnected topics.
Let's add one uncomfortable moment.
Go ahead.
Honestly, though, traveling is becoming so expensive now. Everything is getting worse these days.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way lately. Maybe we should focus on the positive side for a second. What was the most memorable part of your trip?
That redirect felt smooth because it didn't ignore the emotion completely.
Exactly. You acknowledge first, then guide gently.
Let's do one more situation.
Okay.
So, why are you still single?
Wow, direct attack.
Company events become dangerous after dessert.
That's a complicated question. Anyway, changing the subject slightly, have you always lived in this city?
Clean escape.
No drama, no awkward confrontation.
Just a calm redirection.
And honestly, these skills become easier with practice. Most strong communicators were not born magically confident.
They learned how conversations worked.
They learned how to listen carefully.
How to ask thoughtful questions.
How to notice emotional energy.
How to redirect conversations without sounding controlling.
And maybe the biggest lesson is this. People enjoy talking to those who make them feel comfortable, respected, and included.
Not people who dominate every discussion.
Conversation control is not manipulation.
It's communication skill.